Happening now, restaurants here in Western New York able to reopen outside dining spaces. What specifically do they have to do to prepare for customers? We'll let you know next. Plus, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joins us live to talk about the current reopening efforts here and local Black Lives Matter protests in Jamestown.
Well, the clouds are thickening up from west to east today. We've got a little bit of shower activity this afternoon, but humidity rises tomorrow. We'll talk about it next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Our top story today, the Democrat candidate for Chautauqua County State Assembly seat is speaking out after she says she received threats of violence online. Christina Cardinale tells WNY News Now since launching her campaign, she's received threats surrounding her supposed Second Amendment stance.
There seem to be some individuals in the community that are instigating gun violence toward me and possibly the Democratic Party as a whole, but specifically toward me. The general message that I received was gun violence in a way that threatens my life. And based on my campaign and my platform, if I were to act as a candidate who is interested in infringing on the rights of Americans, there will be gun violence as a response. And my mission is not at all to incite violence or divide the community. I'm a supporter of peace and unity and working together, and I think it's important to address the conversations that are happening.
Now, she says her affiliation with the Democrat Party has led to misinformation. She's now requesting patience and understanding from those in the community. In fact, she says she supports Second Amendment rights and added that some of the threatening messages contained references to socialism or other politicians who identify as Democrat Socialists of America. Crandall says that she is sad that people have jumped to conclusion based on her party affiliation. Cardinale says that she has since sought advice from local law enforcement on how to react to those threats. She's running against incumbent Republican Assemblyman Andy Goodell in this fall's general election. Well, outdoor dining at restaurants is now included in Phase 2 of reopening here in New York State. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the news yesterday afternoon. He says that outdoor tables must be placed 6 feet apart. All staff must wear face coverings and customers must also wear face coverings when not seated. Now, previously, restaurants were limited to providing takeout or delivery services only. Chautauqua County Executive P.J. Wendell originally presented the idea to the Western New York Control Room, who forwarded it to the governor's office.
This will be a shot in the arm for our local restaurants, who I am confident can find ways to create outdoor seating space if it doesn't already exist, and they can resume dining services safely and responsibly, for those who remained open for takeout have done for months. Again, this is exciting news for Western New York, especially Chautauqua County, as many of our restaurants have outdoor dining and are trying to capitalize on the summer months.
Wendell also reminded Phase 2 businesses that they must complete the New York State guidance documentation before they begin reopening. We have a link to that, which is posted at forward.ny.gov. The link directly is posted at WNYNewsNow.com with information provided by the Chautauqua County Chamber of Commerce for local businesses. Well, officials in Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Warren counties announced several new positive cases of COVID-19 across our region yesterday. Here's a look at the updated COVID-19 map. In Chautauqua County, there are 2 new cases consisting of a man in his 60s and a woman in her 70s. This brings the total number of confirmed cases to 90, with 15 active and 71 recovered. Cattaraugus County also reported 2 new cases yesterday, bringing the total to 71, with 14 active and 53 recovered. Additionally, Warren County, Pennsylvania announced 1 new case, bringing their county total to 4. Meanwhile, events continue to be canceled due to COVID-19 gathering restrictions. Chautauqua County's 4th of July parade in Mayville and the Jamestown Cruise-In both have been called off. Organizers are hopeful, though, that the 4th of July fireworks display could continue. Well, several local religious leaders will be holding a prayer session with law enforcement and government officials tomorrow, seeking guidance following the killing of George Floyd. Reverend Lee Croft Clark, in an interview with WNY News Now, says that faith leaders are seeking to keep the conversation going in hopes of sparking change with law enforcement. Now, on Sunday, community members spoke directly with local law enforcement during a Black Lives Matter rally at Jamestown's Dow Park. At the end of that rally, those in attendance knelt in prayer, thanking God for the ability to come together as a community peacefully and then calling for change. The Reverend says that Friday's conversation will focus on 4 primary aspects: repentance, justice, forgiveness, and reconciliation.
The focus is not so much to have protests or a gathering and then we're done. What we're striving for is to have a mutual beneficial resolution. And the only way to get that is through prayer. So we're seeking the Lord. The pastors in town have decided that we need to come together and seek God for such a resolution.
Now, he says following the prayer, he believes that God will give those in attendance a task to help find a resolution to provide equal civil rights to all. Friday's prayer is scheduled to take place at noon at Jackson Taylor Park, formerly Chattacoin Park. Organizers say, though, the event's not open to the general public, although WNY News Now will be live streaming the prayer online at WNYNewsNow.com/live, our mobile app, and right here on Facebook. Well, this week, a local Boy Scout troop delivered popcorn to say thank you to school food service workers. Troop 162's Alexander Poshka and Jack Allen delivered over 50 popcorn collection tins to employees at Jefferson, Purcell, and Washington middle schools, along with Jamestown High School. Now, since the COVID-19 outbreak began, the Jamestown Public School District's Food Service Department served 160,000 meals to go to students. District officials say that the meals are provided Monday through Friday, with meals available for the weekends as well. Weekly menus are posted at jpsny.org/meals. Certainly great to see the community giving back in that way. We thank you for joining us here for WNY News Now on this Thursday. A pretty nice day out there. Let's say hello to Anna in the comments. Good to see Chloe. Good to see Andrew. Beatrice, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate the wave. Good to see Tim, Joanna, Pam, Charlie, and Joseph. Good afternoon to all of you. Hopefully you are having a good day. Let's switch gears now and get a check of our First Defense weather forecast with Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. And Dakota, it's absolutely looking beautiful out there, my friend, today with lots of sunshine.
Yes, it is, and we've got the sunshine early, but it's not going to be staying that way for long this afternoon. Here's a live look coming from downtown Olean. You can see the traffic flowing A-OK over the roundabout down there. Downtown, current temperature right now in Olean, 73, southwest wind of 9, but we got a wind gust at 17, and the dew point, at least the eastern area, is still into the 50s, but the dew points are starting to climb in the western areas, and again, that's going to be adding to the stickiness. Nothing returning on First Defense Doppler radar here locally, but if we go just a little bit farther down to the south, you can see a little bit of this rain shower activity. This is ultimately going to be coming our way over the next couple of hours, and the best chance for any shower or storm activity is going to be right near the state line today. So if you're further to the north, your rain chances are lower today. If you're down near the state line in northwestern Pennsylvania, you're likely going to see at least a shower or a storm this afternoon. Lake Erie water temperatures have gone up 1 degree off both lake shores, 56 off Buffalo, 59 off Erie. Wave heights 1 foot or less, but again, you will be dodging a few raindrops, especially near the PA line. So if you're taking your boat out on, essentially on the lake this afternoon, just keep your eyes on that and have the radar handy. Right now in town, 76 in Jamestown, 78 in Mayville, 82 in Dunkirk. I don't think that 67 in Fredonia is correct. 79 in Erie, and already in Randolph up to 78 degrees. And the temperatures are going to continue to climb here just a little bit through the afternoon before the rain comes our way. So mostly sunny early. Showers and storms will develop this afternoon. And again, the best chance for that near the state line. Milder and much more humid. 70 at the immediate waterfront to 81 well inland. Some spots may go 82, 83 depending on the onset of the rain time, with a southwest wind 5 to 10. But it turns much more muggier tomorrow. We'll talk about it in just a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joins us live to continue the conversation about the Black Lives Matter movement here locally and the news now that restaurants can begin to reopen their outside dining rooms. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Back in just a second. And welcome back to WNY News Now. Yesterday, state officials announced that restaurants can begin to reopen their outside dining spaces under Phase 2 here in Western New York. Joining us on the show to talk more about that is Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist. Mayor, great to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with the news of outdoor dining rooms now included in that phase, which we're currently in here in Western New York. Do city officials plan to work with some of these restaurants in Jamestown, maybe those downtown who don't specifically have an outdoor space, to allow them to operate some sort of seating in front of their business or a nearby public space like you sometimes see in New York City?
Absolutely. So one of the things is that we've just learned as of yesterday about the permission to use outdoor seating. But the city's actually been quite ahead of the curve here. We've been working with our council members and a different working group of local businesses to help put together a plan to use not only sidewalk space, but also parklets, so parking spaces, as well as other public spaces across the city. We're getting ready to roll that out actually this week to bring and get feedback from our council members and the public. So they've kind of made it a little bit easier for us and given us some additional guidance to add in. So we're prepared for that. Right now, if you are a local restaurant or business that wants to go ahead and start using the sidewalk, you do need to get a permit from the city. We have a process for that. You can simply call our Department of Development office to get that permit started. And we also have a lot of businesses that already have those permits and just need to make sure it's up to date and active. So we are working very closely with our city council and with our community to help open up our public spaces for people.
Now, what is the best way for restaurants to maybe begin that process and learn a little bit more about what it takes to obtain a permit?
So right now, the easiest thing they could do is simply call our Department of Development so that we can walk you through the process as it is right now for the use of sidewalks. This week, we'll be coming out with some additional information on using additional spaces across the city, other public spaces. But as it stands right now, we've had in the code for several years what is called a sidewalk permit, sidewalk cafe permit, where we can start to use public space in order to operate your business.
And certainly, I know I saw that you had a post today on Facebook, and I don't know too much about it because I don't have it right here in front of me. But are you going to be kind of reaching out to the community in general? I think the post was about some sort of virtual meeting, if I'm correct. How was that education aspect of it? Because I know there are a lot of local restaurants, Taco Hut, for example, who decided to close during COVID-19 because they weren't doing as much takeout business as they once thought. They're going to resume that according to their Facebook page in the next week. But I'd imagine for a lot of restaurants, if they could even just have 1, 2, 3 tables right out in front, they'd get business.
Yeah, so today at 1 o'clock, our Department of Development is doing a webinar open to the public on how to safely open up your business and provide outdoor seating. The state late last night had released guidance for anyone who wants to use outdoor seating, and we're going to provide that information to the public. We'll also have it posted on our website once it's completed for those that can't join today. But more importantly, we're encouraging all restaurants just to give our office a call, whether that's the mayor's office or the Department of Development, just to walk through that process. There is some guidance in terms of using the public right-of-ways, so sidewalks and things like that. But if you're a private business and you've got a back porch or a back deck and you normally serve patrons there, you just have to follow the guidance from the state. You don't need any permission from the city or other municipalities. But if you want to use any type of city sidewalk, city right-of-way, the city has to agree to it. And we've also been notified by the state liquor authority that those that have alcohol permits, alcohol licenses, as long as you have a valid permit from the city and the city signs off on it, you can start to vend and serve alcohol in those city spaces as well.
Now, yesterday, the city sent out a news release discussing a phased approach to financial reconstructing following the COVID-19 pandemic. I know not just here in Jamestown, but budgets across the nation and local municipalities are facing some struggles. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that and what a plan could look like to try to help city government with their spending outlook going forward?
Absolutely. So it's no secret that we are looking at anywhere from a $2 to $4 million budget deficit this year because of COVID. That includes revenue, that includes loss of sales tax, as well as a projected loss of state aid. If we lose that, we obviously put ourselves in a very difficult position when the city's already on a tight budget. We can't raise taxes to raise funds because we're at a tax cap here in the city of Jamestown. So we're now in a position where, as a new mayor, almost 6 months in, we're making even larger cuts to a budget that's pretty thin. So my team and I had went through everything that we've got. We have to make some very difficult decisions to programs and services that we offer here in the city, and we're going to need to cut them this year in order to make up for the budget gap. So we put out a 2020 COVID restructuring plan for our budget. We are asking the council to approve that. We put several phases as part of it, phases. The first one is cuts that we can make quickly and easily and result in absolutely no layoff of employees, at least our full-time employees. Some of our part-time employees have already left the city because of financial reasons. But if we have to go even tighter, if we realize that our revenues continue to fall in the next couple quarters, next couple months, then we're looking at additional phases, which are much, much more difficult. The second phase would be a layoff of about up to 20 employees in the city. The third phase would also be an additional layoff of 10 or more employees in the city. And those phases would require immediate renegotiation of our contracts, as well as a drastic cut in city services in terms of hours and ability to have personnel to respond to citizen issues.
You mentioned that some programs are in jeopardy because of these financial hardships. Specifically, what are you looking at to trim down?
In the first phase of cuts, we've cut all except a couple summer help positions across the board. We've reduced spending overall in our various departments. We've cut construction projects across the board. We would also be forced to cut all summer programs, so rec leagues, baseball leagues, as well as all festivals and other things that the city would typically sponsor. So a lot of quality of life things would need to be cut and immediately and drastically. But the main thing for me as mayor and for our city council is that if we can do it, we want to do so with no layoffs. It's something that can't be said for other areas, including the county and other municipalities across the state. I'm proud to say that we're one of the few municipalities that have continued to pay all of our employees during this very difficult time and want to continue to keep our employees as we go forward. So we're trying to do everything we can to prevent layoffs here in the city.
Now, in addition to the COVID-19 pandemic and now the reopening effort here, we've seen locally in the past week many community members come out and support the Black Lives Matter movement. On Sunday specifically, you and local law enforcement attended a rally where you engaged in dialogue with the community. For you, why was it important to go there on Sunday and engage in that discussion?
Well, Justin, one of the biggest things is I was always raised and taught that as a human being, you should do the right thing. It may not always be the most popular thing, and it may not be the best thing, but it's the right thing. So when we heard that there was going to be protests that related to the Black Lives Matter, both myself and the chief of police, we went to start a dialogue with the community. Our community is hurting. It is dealing with issues of racial tension across the area and across our nation. And so as mayor, it's important that I'm a leader, that I go and I actually show the community how we can engage in dialogue, how we can safely and smartly make change, and really work on the issues of inclusiveness here in the city of Jamestown.
What was the biggest concern that you heard on Sunday, and then how do you plan to address that at city government levels?
So we need to have more dialogue. We need to have more discussions on how the city can be more inclusive and more diverse. So we are working as a city and as a community to start to bring community members together, to start to address issues of both racial tensions and religious tensions here in the city of Jamestown. We're working to kind of create this committee and create this process. And as we get into next week, we should have more information for the public, and we're excited to share that.
Now, coming up tomorrow, as we mentioned earlier in our news rundown here, local religious leaders are scheduled to meet with officials to continue that movement's conversation. They say that's the most important part, is they will have a horrible, horrible event like Mr. Floyd's death, which will spark outrage and bring the conversation to the forefront. But then as time goes on, it slowly but surely falls back out of the spotlight. For you, do you plan to attend tomorrow's religious discussion at noon? And then, if so, what do you hope that conversation will achieve?
Well, I've had conversations with the folks organizing this religious grouping, this religious gathering, to address issues that we're experiencing across the nation. I will be there. I will be speaking to our community, our religious leaders, about the ways that we can all work together to further the dialogue, to start to make change here in the city of Jamestown, and more importantly, just to heal as one community. That's a very strong part of the work that we need to do in order to make sure that the city of Jamestown is progressive and also responsive to our residents.
Why do you think that Mr. Floyd's death has sparked such an outrage here in Jamestown? I mean, some people say we're thousands of miles away from where that incident happened, but here in Jamestown, it's very much on the mind of many.
I don't think it matters what community you're in. It's something that has been a part of this nation where there are tensions, and we aren't recognizing the fact that there are differences among human beings that live here. There are differences in the way that we do things. But more importantly, we need to recognize what those differences are and be able to bring those to light. And I think the death that we've seen has really helped spark it, but also spark that conversation. And we may not experience all the things that we see in other communities, but we're hurting nonetheless, and we do experience some things, and we need to address those things.
All right, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joining us on the broadcast today. Mayor, great to have you. We appreciate your time and the discussion that we had.
Thanks so much.
Now let's get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, it was a warm day yesterday. How about this? 76 was the official high in town yesterday. Also the same in Dunkirk, 74 over in Olean, 81 over in Erie. They spiked into the lower 80s yesterday afternoon, and the heat is going to be returning once again. Look at this. We go up to 83 degrees tomorrow. RELIEF spells relief. Do you all remember that acid commercial back in the 70s? Yeah, but it's coming over the weekend. We see a drop in the humidity and a drop in the temperatures over the weekend. We're going to go down to actually 64 on Sunday, so it's going to be refreshing, cool air, but we all know this is right around summertime, and the heat and humidity will be returning once again. Clouds thickening up downtown on the HD News Now cam. Right now at noon hour, it's 76 here in town. Southwest wind to 14. Look at this dew point at 59. It's been slowly creeping up today, and we do expect this dew point number to end up being in the lower 60s by the time the day is done and over with. So here's what's going on here. We have a stalled front that is to our north that is keeping this high pressure from down into our region, and the rain that is coming our way is basically from this low pressure area near that's basically near the Windy City, and we're going to be seeing some rain over here basically this afternoon and tomorrow. Here's the newest Runner Future Scan. It shows it to you quite well. Notice the showers sparking up mainly in the southern tier down near the state line. Again, if you're farther to the north, you should stay dry today. It's going to be mainly down across the New York-Pennsylvania border into northwestern Pennsylvania. You'll see a few showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. That'll create some rain-cooled air, but that's not going to help the humidity any either, actually spike it. Now, tomorrow, humidity values soar way up again tomorrow, so understand the radar tomorrow is not going to look like this. This is basically a computer simulation, and it is hard to determine when and where the showers are going to pop up tomorrow. So just have the radar on hand tomorrow, because there's going to be showers and storms popping up across the afternoon. Next big thing, as I just told you, the humidity will be soaring. Here's where the humidity is. It stays in that humid range, 60 to 65 degrees for dew point temperatures today. Look at where it goes tomorrow into this muggy category. I would be a bit surprised if some dew point temperatures actually go into the lower 70s in some spots. That's the oppressive tropical air. It's air you can wear. I mean, when your clothes just stick to you. But look at what happens on Saturday. Down the scale we go when we go back into the pleasant category for dew point temperatures over the weekend. So tonight, lower to basically mid to upper 60s for most areas. An early shower or storm tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy, but very warm and muggy. The cloud cover is going to help keep us kind of warm overnight, and that the southerly wind is not helping matters any either. Zone cast inland areas today. I think some spots may have a shot of hitting 80. It's going to be depending on the onset of the rain time when the rain comes in, but again, you may get a few thunder boomers through the afternoon. Next 7 days of your life coming up now. 83 degrees tomorrow, and again, that's with a high humidity content. 74 Saturday, not bad there. Look at the weekend, not bad there. Mostly sunny both days, lower humidity, but wouldn't you know it, summer comes right back again for early next week. It's a summer feel as we go into mid and early next week. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if some spots, especially in northwestern Pennsylvania, make a run at 90 come later next week. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Well, that's going to do it for us today. We thank you so much for joining us here on WNY News Now. I wanted to answer a real quick question from Joanna in the comments. She's asking where can she log on to see that webinar with city officials this afternoon at 1 o'clock. Joanna, if you type Mayor Eddie Sundquist on Facebook, there's information about how you can join the Zoom meeting. And I'll actually read the ID for you. It's 814-3271-5344 with the password of 160052. Again, that's posted on the mayor's Facebook page. We are going to run this story following the noon broadcast today. Obviously, it'll be a little too late to join in on that meeting, which is set to take place in a half an hour. But if you want to join the mayor's meeting with Department of Development officials talking about Phase 2 outside dining reopening. There is a Zoom meeting. Mayor Eddie Sundquist on Facebook has a post on there, which you can check out. We are back tomorrow live here right at noon. We hope to see you then. Otherwise, have a great day.